I don't believe they're de-escalating for a moment. And you're absolutely right. The saying actions speak louder than words, it's 100% true. They can say whatever they want, but that's not what they're doing. They have them what they call ghost cars. They stop people in the middle of the street, they grab them out of the car, they leave the car running. I think in one case they left a baby in the back of the car. Pets, dogs, purses, whatever. They're running rampant through our streets, acting without impunity. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, Boise, Idaho, and everywhere in between, people are protesting. This is not our America. This is not what should be happening. And I can tell you that we've had reports in some cities where they go to apartment complexes and they start pulling the fire alarms. So people run out. Now, pulling the fire alarms, it's against the law, number one. They're supposed to be law enforcement officers. And I can tell you, do any state and local police officers act like that? They do not. They are poorly trained. They are just thugs running through our streets, and we have to figure out what we can do to stop them. That's why I'm calling for an investigation on Tom Homan. It's why I've called for the impeachment of Kristi Noem, and it's why if they don't comply to some standards with us, we're going to shut down Homeland Security in less than 2 weeks.
How have you reckoned where to best utilize Senate Democrats' energy? Because Donald Trump has almost mocked the idea that he's going to be impeached again. And if you're looking at Kristi Noem, the question would be, who comes next? As you guys have conversations internally about your calculus, about how you guys can be most effective moving forward, what are those conversations looking like?
Well, I can tell you this. People are looking to all of us as leaders to stand up and speak out. Just because we don't have the votes doesn't mean we don't have a voice. Doesn't mean that we can't use our energy and our commitment to our democracy, our care and love for our neighbors and community to fight against this cruel, chaotic, ridiculous, anti-American behavior that ICE is doing. And we can talk about every other cabinet secretary and everything else they're doing, but we can talk about ICE and what they're doing. The chaos is absolutely out of control, and we have to stand up, because every time we stand up, every time you speak out, for every person who speaks out and stands up, it makes one other person able to do that and feel that. So that's what we're going to continue to do, and I can tell you we're going to shut that Homeland Security down if they don't comply to a few things.
So let's talk about what they need to comply with, because, again, we learned on Friday that ICE has expanded the power of their agents to arrest people without warrants. This is from the New York Times. The memo addressed to all ICE personnel and signed on Wednesday by acting ICE Director Todd Lyons centers on a federal law that empowers agents to make warrantless arrests of people they believe are undocumented immigrants if they are likely to escape before an arrest warrant can be obtained. The people they believe are undocumented immigrants is doing a lot of work. There are United States citizens who have been arrested because they look undocumented. This is racial profiling, as Elise and we've said here oftentimes. So what are some of the sticking points? Because now, apparently in Minnesota, they're going to put on the body cameras, but they're still wearing the masks. And historically, the people who have the masks on, when they're trying to engage in law enforcement activities, they haven't been the good guys. My earring keeps going because it's like, yeah, this is crazy.
That's right. Well, I can tell you that they are not the good guys in this case, because every other law enforcement, state and local, what are they trained in? Number one, de-escalation. Number one, they wear body cams to protect themselves and protect the people that they're working with. And if they violate the law, there's uniform codes of conduct out there that we expect from everyone. So what we want are the guardrails that we have from all of our state and local government, a uniform code of conduct, proper training, no masks. You don't see our state and local police walking around with masks. They have their badges on. They come up to you in a car, I mean, unless they're on a super sting operation. They aren't afraid to do their job, and the number one thing they're taught is de-escalation. And I'll tell you, one thing that I heard somebody say to me, and others have spoken about this, is that, now imagine you're in an urban area, you're walking down the street, you and a couple of friends, and a van screeches up, he stops, a bunch of masked guys come out in camo and gear and masks and God knows what, in an unmarked van. They grab your friend, grab a couple people, shove them in, because what does an undocumented person look like? I don't even understand that premise. People are people. What can you say? They wear a certain kind of jeans, a certain kind of t-shirt?
They're saying
The
I don't
Supreme
know.
Court made it such that now it is sanctioned racial profiling. And that is why even in Minnesota, you're seeing members of tribes be picked up because officers are misunderstanding them as being
officers aren't
Latinos.
trained.
They're certainly not trained to do this. That is
They're
part
not
of what
trained
is
to do
wild
this,
about
number
what they're
one.
doing.
They don't have the demeanor. They're not trained, and they are given license to run roughshod.
But is this a training issue? I mean, are we at the point where is this bigger than a training issue, Senator? And I ask that because some of the agents that we are learning about, like the officer that shot Renee Good, he was on the beat for 10 years. You know, so he wasn't one of these new guys that was just shoved in there. So is it just a training issue?
It's more than a training issue. It comes from the top. It comes from leadership. So when you have people like Kristi Noem and Tom Holman and whoever else it is, just, you've seen the videos. Just go out and give them a quota, get as many as you can, round them up, treating people like they're worse than animals, less than animals. It's horrific, it's dangerous, and they're empowering them to go and create this chaos and cruelty. And so it comes from the top. And I have to say this, even though they may choose not to follow the law, it doesn't relieve me of my responsibility of trying to enforce the law and trying to put those guardrails on them. And so if they choose to break that, one day, one thing I know for sure is that there'll be a day after this. And then they're going to have to look themselves in the mirror, and maybe they'll have to face a court of law for what they did. But it is incumbent upon me and my job to hold them accountable in every way. And if I have to reiterate that you need to hold up the damn Fourth Amendment, respect the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, all the amendments and the Constitution, then I'll rewrite it. And we'll put it in there. And that's the guardrails that we need to put on them, not just in the Homeland Security bill, but to go through from that one big, beautiful beep, 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 Bill. I know you're going to beat me if I say what it is, so I'll just beat myself. I'll just beat myself there. And so I still have to do my job, and I'm going to hold them accountable. And I hope and pray that one day we will come back to some sanity, and they will be ashamed.
Real fast. Tom Tillis, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. Do you want to add names of who of your Republican colleagues you are having substantive conversations about DHS funding in ICE operations with?
I just want to tell you, a lot of my Republican colleagues, they're so concerned and they're clutching their pearls all the time, but they never stand up. Tom Tillis, of course, isn't running again, so suddenly he's got a little bit of freedom there. We'll see.
Not Susan Collins?
Well, look at her history. How often has she clutched her pearls and been concerned and then voted away? She said she wouldn't. I heard her say the other day that she was proud of her vote for RFK Jr. Well, I can tell you, I talked to someone today who was formerly at the NIH, well-respected physician, a person with vaccine coordinator and the like, and what he's doing to our Department of Health and Human Services, what he's doing to kids, what he's not preparing us for, we're all going to pay for that one. And so maybe they get a little, they act real concerned in the moment, and then watch how they vote. Don't listen to what they say, listen to what they do.